Hello everybody, good evening and welcome to the United Stands. I'm Mark Goldbridge. It's Halloween, the green light's on, but let's hope the green light's not on for Ten Hag to change his captain. I'm laughing at my own joke. This is going to be a cracking show. Also, we're going to be talking about Onana going to the AFCON, a little bit about Marcus Rashford as well, analysis of United's playing style, and a lot more as well. So much to get into on the show. I'm still laughing about the green light thing. The green light's on because it's Halloween, of course, and because it's Halloween, boo-hoo! It's perfect. It's perfect. I had to beg Boohoo Man to sponsor us tonight because it's Halloween. I was like, what's better than going boo-hoo on Halloween? So there we go. Boohoo Man are sponsoring the show by public demand. You can get 40% off with the code Goldbridge. You can kit out your wardrobe for winter, summer, spring, summer or fall. You can kit out your wardrobe. That's all. I'm not going to say anything else. But yeah, Boohoo Man have got everything covered for you, from jumpers to coats to five-a-side wear to chill-out wear. You can get it all. Extremely good prices anyway, but you can get an extra 40% off with the code Goldbridge. And because it is a Boohoo Man integration, they always have a bit of Manchester United trivia to lighten the load for us Manchester United fans who are just suppressed by bad results. We can test our knowledge for the club that we love. And here we go. Guess who I'm talking about? Courtesy of Boohoo Man. I was born on the 14th of April 1998. My career began at Bursaspor. I've played in 140 games throughout my club career and have represented Turkey 6 times at the international level. Manchester United signed me for 4.3 million on a 4-year deal. I made history as the first ever Turkish player to sign for Manchester United, but I haven't played a game yet. Even though I'm not starting goalkeeper, I currently wear the Manchester United #1 jersey. My name, of course, is Bayındır, Altay Bayındır, and he may well play tomorrow night against Newcastle. Big thank you to Boohoo Man for their support as ever, and big thank you to Boohoo Man for being our Halloween sponsor. Boohoo! Don't forget, you can get a huge 40% off with the code Goldbridge. Check it out through the link in the video description. We're feeling spooky here. Actually, I've been in here all day. People said, "Where are you?" Has Gary Neville kidnapped you and put you in his basement? I hope not, because he won't let me out till tomorrow. He gets up at 5, but he goes to bed at 6, so he'll be in bed now. Gary, let me out, Gary! Let me out, Gary! I'll ruin your beauty sleep. You won't get your 12 hours. You won't attack the day. I'll woof like a dog. Oh, ho, ho, ho! I'm not in Gary's basement, really. Anyway, exciting, isn't it? Thank you, everybody, for tuning in tonight. We've got lots to talk about, of course. We're going to talk about this rumour going round that Ten Hag might change his captain, which I find absolutely incredible and a massive mistake. In fact, I wouldn't have a green light. I can't find it. That would have worked really good if I'd gone from green to red. You stupid witch. Anyway, let's go. So, look, we'll talk about that. Also, Onana is apparently going to go to the AFCON. I wouldn't describe strong opinions on this. I'd describe it as really couldn't give a shit opinions on it, which I'm going to ramp up for content. But I think it's a bloody disgrace that Onana's going to go to the AFCON. I really do. What a silly signing that is, and I'll tell you why in a minute. Also, I want to talk about Rashford a little bit as well. He's got a new pair of boots coming out with Nike, and let's hope that when he puts those boots on, he starts scoring goals. I'm all for it. Ivan says you can't blame Onana. You can't blame him. Well, we're going to do a poll on it, Ivan, and then we'll see what happens when the might of democracy bites his arse. And we're also going to be talking about other things as well. Also, you know what? Let's just throw it in early doors. I'm disgusted. I'm actually disgusted. You know what? I feel that we have built up an amazing community over the last 8 years. The #1 Manchester United fan community in the world. And I find it disgusting that those who basically chew on our coattails give us a bad name. You know, I don't want this community to be likened to any other type of content that copies what we do. We are the original gangsters, and we have always, led by me, back to manager until the last possible chance. I don't like what I'm seeing from these it's the Ten Hag out show. Time's up for Ten Hag. Holding a fucking phone in your face outside Old Trafford or in your bedroom going, Ten Hag's got to go, man. Shut up. That's not supporting your club. Who are you? What's your CV? What are you talking about? And what's your plan if he goes? look, it's one thing us discussing it, but for God's sake, getting a bloody camera in your face and saying Ten Hag out. Well, I tell you what, if you figured out how to do a camera, if you've figured out how to record yourself, surely you've figured out what the alternative is. You bloody leeching, content creating arseholes. That's what I'm going to call you. Websites, camera people, and people typing on Twitter. You're all the bloody same, doing it for clicks. Oh, Ten Hag out will do a great load of clicks. Swivel on it. What's your alternative? What's your alternative? Take a shot at me. I don't care. Leave the manager alone. Come for me and say, oh, Goldbridge, I don't care. Come for me. I'm used to it. Leave Eric alone. You've got no alternative. You're doing it for clicks. You're always doing it. You did it with Jose early. You did it with Rangnick. You're doing it with Ten Hag. You're just click merchants. You've got no idea. And you are vermin to this football club. There we go. Swivel on it as well. Shove Lego up your bum as well. Anyway, I'm in a juvenile mood tonight. It's Halloween. I've probably had too many Haribos, if I'm being honest. I haven't had any red wine. Although I could have done and said it was blood. But, I do find it. Look, I don't mind you saying Ten Hag out. I don't. I'm not telling you to shove Lego up your anus. I don't mind you lot saying Ten Hag out. The community, it's fine. I don't mind certain United fans saying Ten Hag out that I respect, but I don't respect the people who are just doing it to be trying to be edgy. And they'll come back because it'll be like a red rag to a bull. They'll be like, I hate Goldbridge, even though I've copied Goldbridge. I hate him. I hate Goldbridge, even though I look at everything he does and copy him. That's what they'll do. They can take a shot at me. I don't care, because I will say one thing back. You're just going, enough is enough, man. Enough is enough. Get Ten Hag out. I tell you, that's it. Oh, enough is enough. Oh, this Ollie was better than this man. Oh, that man. Stop saying man and tell me the man who's going to replace him. And they can't do it. Mark, I think people have a short-term memory. It took Fergie 4 years before he won a trophy. Within that period, United finished 14th and 9th. You know what? I totally agree with you, Slow Sports News. I really, really do. Look, maybe we can come back to that because that's not the point of the show. I'm going to tell you that anybody that's saying Ten Hag out for content, whether it's websites, tweets, videos or books, don't write a book. It will take you ages to write it and you won't get published. You're better off doing a tweet. Just think to yourself, what are they telling me? I always do this with the media. What are they telling me? When Martin Keown says, get rid of Bruno as captain and get rid of Ten Hag as manager, I'm thinking, what is he actually telling me? He's telling me he's an ex-Arsenal hating Manchester United twat, prat, maybe the former. He's not telling me anything. He's not teaching me anything. He's just projecting his hate onto us. Whenever I listen to somebody now, I think, what are they doing? Are they projecting hate? Or are they projecting something that's valuable in my life that I can learn from? And all I hear with Ten Hag out is, I don't hear Ten Hag out. I'm waiting for sentence 2. What's your plan when he's gone? You've got the knowledge. I've got the knowledge. We know how much money we've got in this football club. What's your plan? Is it Darren Fletcher? And that's what I want to say to those people. You want Ten Hag out, so you want Darren Fletcher for 8 months. No, come on. Be a grown-up. You've learnt to use a camera. You've learnt to write an article. What's your alternative? And there is no answer. The LUHG Twitter accounts have the worst community. They're just Ronaldo fans, and they needed to bring that up, says Reckon. I'm not getting into the Ronaldo stuff. I do like Ronaldo. It's a shame what happened. It's your boy Calv's been a member for 55 months. Right, let's get into the show. Right, I was told this today, and I think I saw a couple of tweets about it, that Eric Ten Hag is potentially considering changing his captain from Bruno Fernandes to Raphael Varane. I've got to say, now, stop, Eric. Do not change your captain. If you change Bruno as captain, you're going to push me towards not being as supportive as I am. Not Ten Hag out, but I will be disappointed, and you don't want a disappointed Goldbridge, and you don't want a disappointed Manchester United fan, because that's disappointment, and we don't want that. He cannot change his manager. He cannot change the captain. He cannot do it. It would be bowing down to media pressure, and that is not going to earn you respect. You gave him the captaincy. You stick by it. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer gave Maguire the captaincy. A lot of people didn't want him to be captain, and he stuck by it. I respect that. Last season, Ten Hag kept Maguire as captain. He didn't pick him. He didn't change the captaincy. He kept him until the summer and then he took it off him. I respect that. Do not take the captaincy off Bruno Fernandes. It looks desperate. It looks completely manipulated. You cannot be that as Manchester United manager. You've made the choice. You stick with it. And I think even people... Look, I'd love to get Roy Keane on the show and I'd say, Roy, would you change the captain now? And he'd probably say yes, wouldn't he? He'd probably 2-foot tackle me as well. But the reality is, really, deep down, I think even Roy knows it's weak to change your captain in October. He's got to stick with him and he's got to stick with him till the summer. That's what he's got to do. And also, if he changes it, I mean, I would be very concerned if he changed Bruno as captain for many reasons, but I'd be really concerned. It's an admission of failure. And... he can't do that. But also, who's going to be the captain if he replaces him? I mean, it cannot be Marcus Rashford. It cannot be Harry Maguire. It cannot be Scott McTominay. It cannot be Varane because he doesn't stay fit. Luke Shaw's not fit. David De Gea's not here anymore. The only person I'd be looking at is Casemiro, and he subbed him off at half-time a couple of weeks ago. So, there is no alternative. There is no alternative, and he's got to stick with it. I mean, I'll run a poll on it, but I really... again, it's actually it echoes the manager really. I know there are people. Look, to be honest with you, let's be very, very honest here. We're going to be stereotypical, but let's be very honest. People who don't like Bruno are Ten Hag out, aren't they? Let's be honest. I think it's a little bit like, people who don't like lamb don't like burgers because they're vegetarian, for example. I think there's a direct link between disliking Bruno and disliking Ten Hag. And I think everybody who dislikes Bruno doesn't like Ten Hag. Gary Neville. He won't admit the Ten Hag one, but it's obviously doesn't like Bruno. And I don't think Roy Keane likes Bruno. I don't think he really likes Ten Hag either. I respect them for not being honest about Ten Hag, but I think if you don't like Bruno, you don't like Ten Hag. I just see a lot of that. It's stereotypical. I don't like being like that, but I feel that there is that. But... I was looking at something today on, I think it was on Y-Scout or was some stats thing, that Bruno Fernandes is number 2 in Europe for expected assists. I don't even know how that's worked out, because he's not number 2 for assists. If someone in the chat wants to explain that to me, I've had too many Haribos, but how can you be number 2 statistically in Europe for expected assists, but you're not number 2 for assists? And how do you work out what an expected assist is? But look, we know that Bruno's very good at that. It's deceptive how he's good at that. I don't know how he is good at that, but he's always, I think since 2020, he's created more chances than anybody in the Premier League. So, he has his values, but he's got no value on the right wing. He's got 0 value at right wing. He's got 0 value as a number 8. He's got to play as a number 10. But you can't change him as captain. There's 2 reasons why you can't change him as captain. 1, there's nobody to do the job. 2, it really makes the manager look weak, and he can't look weak. I wanted Ollie to go at the end, and I wanted Jose to go at the end, but the thing I'll always respect Jose for was he was stubborn to the end. He was Frank Sinatra. He did it his way, and he knew it was going to be the end of him, but he did it his way. And some of the things that he did I didn't agree with, but he did do it his way. And I think that you can't be weak as a Man United manager. You've got to go. People are saying, what's an expected assist? I don't know. I just read it today. I don't know. Don't know what it is. For me, it sounds like a load of bollocks, but it is what it is. So, yeah, we'll move on with that. But maybe he's realised Bruno's not captain material, and taking captain away means can drop him more. I'm Ten Hag in, says Ryan. Yeah, but you know what? You can't take the captaincy off him, because last year Harry Maguire was the captain. He never played and he didn't take the captaincy off him. So, I would lose let's be honest, I would lose my shit. I'd lose my shit if he took the captaincy off Bruno. I would absolutely lose it. And I like Ten Hag, but I would lose my shit. I would say, why is Bruno Fernandes being humiliated publicly by having the captaincy taken off him when he actually plays for us? And last year he didn't take it off Maguire when he wasn't playing. I'd lose my shit and I'd say, what's going on at this football club? Are we being run by the media now? He can't do that. He could drop Bruno and give the captaincy to somebody else, but you can't take the captaincy off him. It would be massively, massively weak in my humble opinion. Just before we move on to this Onana topic about the AFCON, we're having a good show tonight, really enjoying it. I just wanted to say that massive shout out. I'm going to shout out, he might not be watching, I'm going to shout out Abdi from Norway. Basically, we're doing this thing in December in Manchester. It's our live show on the evening that's going to be fantastic. You can get your tickets through the link in the video description. But we're also in the afternoon doing some content, sort of like a Goldbridge Got Talent thing, where we're looking at for presenters in 2024 and trying to find talent in the Manchester area, etc. So you can send a 60-second audition video in talking about anything you like about Man United to that'sfootballmedia@gmail.com, and then the best ones, we're going to invite them up on December the 11th to do be part of the video, to have a proper audition. We've had so many people sending them in. You can still send them in. The deadline isn't for a couple of weeks yet, so that's footballmedia@gmail.com. Get them in, man, woman, or I don't know, whatever descriptions people relate as now, non-binary. I've heard of that one. Well, you're very welcome. That's footballmedia@gmail.com, 60 seconds clips. And we've had so many people sending them in. So I just wanted to shout out Abdi. He was one I was looking at today in Norway. Can speak 5 languages and he's learning Italian. So big shout out to him. You know what? I had a really busy last few weeks and I just said today, stop. You're going to have a cup of tea and you're going to have a look at some of these audition clips. And it was the happiest work thing I've done in about 6 months. The thing I did 6 months ago was doing a bit of work on the laptop whilst doing something else. It was fantastic, multitasking. But I'm joking. But seriously, with this, listening to people talking about Man United who are part of this community was just great. And I just, an hour went like 5 minutes. It was great. So get involved. We're going to whack something up on my Instagram story tomorrow as well. So there's 2 more weeks to go. It's highly competitive, but we've sent a few emails out today inviting people up. I think about 10 people have been invited up. And we're probably going to get up to about 50. So get in there. That's footballmedia@gmail.com, 60-second auditions. You could be, and it doesn't matter whether you're professional, whether you're just starting out. Let's be honest, if it's shit, we'll just put it in the recycle bin. Nobody will ever hear about it. But, give it a go. What did I want to talk about next? Oh, second thing, pinned in the live chat. This is really important as well. If you want to be at the Manchester show on December the 11th, you can buy your ticket and you'll definitely be there. But we've got 10 tickets to give away for free. And actually it's 20 because every person who wins gets 2. So you can bring a friend or whatever. We are giving 10 away on the podcast, which some of you won't be aware of. Goldbridge Saves Football podcast. It's been out for a few weeks now. Links in the live chat or search for it. Basically, to win a ticket, all you've got to do is listen to that podcast and do what it tells you to do. There's 10 tickets. There's about 4 people so far that I think are contenders to win, and the podcast's been out all day. So you've got a very high chance of winning a ticket for free. Listen to the podcast, Goldbridge Saves Football. Right, it's going to be a great show that night as well. It's going to be the best live show we've ever done. Trust me, because it's got so many people involved. Right, let's get back to the show. Onana has apparently agreed that he will play in the AFCON in January. This will mean he could miss up to 7 Manchester United games. What are your thoughts on this? Now, on the captaincy, 43% of you would change the captain, 57% of you wouldn't. That terrifies me. That's not far off 50-50. That is incredible. Just before we go to the Onana thing, that is incredible. 43% of my lovely community would change the captain. I love you for it. This is the thing I love about this community, is that people go, Goldbridge is a dictator, the negative stand. But 43% of you will defy me openly. And I encourage this. I encourage this from the flock of the United stand because, as I've always said, I like it if you disagree because it means you've formed your own passionate opinion. But it does concern me as much as I respect it as well, because what would you do? And this is, are you falling into the same trap with Ten Hag? Because what is the alternative to Bruno? Like, what I want to go inside all of your minds and find out what your alternative to Bruno is. Because if you've got Roy Keane there, oh yeah, let's change the captain. I don't think Bruno would even mind that much. But yeah, I don't know what the alternatives are. But you're absolutely fine defining me. I'm actually one of those content creators. It's a bit like that line out of The Office when he's asked for his motto and he says, I actually like to train people up to challenge me because it keeps me on my toes. So my ethos would be, and I can't remember what he said. But look, I like that. We have better content if there are people who challenge me. Like Robert McCormack is the quintessential arsehole who challenges me all the time. But we get on and we don't disagree on it. We don't agree with that on anything. So I actually like the disagreement because I like people who are passionate, and I hate sheep. People who are sheep who copy everybody's decisions, but also sheep themselves. They stink. I used to go on a school camp every year at primary school, and we used to go and camp in a field in Wales, and there was a lovely river, but guarantee every year you'd always find a stinking sheep carcass somewhere, and I just hated them ever since then. And I also hate sheep who just follow everyone's opinion just to be popular. I like individuality. I like people who can forge their own opinion and have the courage of those convictions. That's what I like. I'd say Shaw has the personality and longevity at the club to be a decent captain, but he needs to be back first. I never wanted Bruno as captain. We changed captaincy when Gary Neville was captain, says Shahin. And slightly off topic, do you have an email that we can email you at? Some thoughts that I have. Curious to get your opinion on it, says Samuel. I won't reply. I won't reply to, this is my thoughts on Man United. I think such and such should play it right back. I won't reply to that. And I'm just being, honesty is the best course of action. If you send a 60-second audition in, I might listen to it, but I won't answer emails about tactics and shit. I won't. I know I won't. I'm being honest. Now is not the right time to change captain. Only a few other good options. Martinez, Varane, Casemiro and Arno. Not good timing for different reasons, says Ivan. Arsenal stuck with Arteta even when all the fans turned against him. Lost finals and finished outside European spot. It took time for him to get his players in and out the deadwood for his play style, says Jose. You know what, Jose? I'm going to just do it. Comment of the evening. Absolutely brilliant. Absolutely fantastic. Where's Gary Barlow? Absolutely incredible, Mark. Could it be magic on Halloween? Absolutely fantastic, Jose. Do you want to be in Take That? Do you want to be? I'll kick Howard out. Absolutely fantastic. It was a great, great comment from Jose. And I'll tell you for why. Because he has basically nailed it. He has nailed it. I, as a Manchester United fan, when Arteta was at Arsenal, saw Arsenal fans printing Arteta out t-shirts. They wanted him out. And I was saying on That's Football, they're idiots. I can see what Arteta's trying to do, but the job is enormous. That club hasn't been a title contender for 15 years. It very rarely gets in the top four. It's been broken from years and years of different managers and bad decisions, and it will take time for Arteta to do what he needs to do. And people were talking about Arteta being at Man City. How can you sit next to Pep Guardiola and play a brand of football, then come to Arsenal and play park the bus football? It makes no sense. And I said, but he clearly does want to play like Pep, but it's going to take time for him to do that because he hasn't got the players to do it yet. And it's taken Arteta a few years. I think Arteta's had 20 permanent signings. Eric Ten Hag's only on about 7 or 8 permanent signings. Fuck off with the loan deals. They're bullshit. That's just Glazonomics. So it's a great point by Jose, and it's one that I didn't think of. And I actually feel like if Jose had sent that on an email, I would have read it and took it as my own. In fact, I probably should start doing this more because I would have looked a lot better. But Jose deserves the credit because he's absolutely correct. I weirdly fought for Arteta and said, I can see what he's going to do. Arsenal fans saying Arteta out are idiots. Is it not the same as Ten Hag? Instead of sat next to Pep, he's already done it at Ajax, but it's not working at Man United because it takes time. How can you have 9 years of park the bus counter-attack football and expect to play good football in 12 months? It does take time, and people don't want to listen to that. Hi Mark, please keep up your good work. Please say hi to my brothers Karan and Ajith. Thank you, Rohit. Mark, Bruno is not a United captain, says Jake. He can't pull our players together to fight. He complains at the referee and kicks out when we're losing. We're not getting owner change, so we need a team fighter, says Jake. So, Jake, you're telling me that a Man United captain is somebody that abides by the rules, unites his players, and doesn't kick out when we're losing. Don't ever watch old videos of Roy Keane because you'll be saying he shouldn't have been captain Man United because he used to kick out. He broke somebody's bloody leg. He stamped on Gareth Southgate, one of my favourite clips ever, and gets better by the years since he's become England manager. I'm joking. But Roy Keane was a thug. So why is Bruno or Anthony being criticised by Gary Neville or Roy Keane for kicking out when they did exactly the same? I find that the most baffling comment of the week. And I don't know whether Roy Keane called it out, but Gary did. He called it embarrassing. And I was like, you played in teams where Man United players were stamping on people. Like, what? I'm confused by that. I'd say we've done that from Shahin. Jose we've done. Anthony should be captain. Showed character when he kicked Doku. That's what United need right now, says Jerome. And I need more. I enjoy more with Ollie. Glazer not give CDM player to him, to Sarek, mate. You need to watch more football. We're going to come to Onana in a moment, but just going back to that Arteta comment, which has just blown my mind tonight. It's so good. Like, Arsenal fans were printing Arteta out t-shirts because the football wasn't good enough and the results weren't good enough. Be careful what you wish for. We've had 12 months of Ten Hag. He got third and won a trophy. We've had a bad start to the season with a load of injuries, and people are saying we've had enough of Ten Hag. Be very wary of these, dumb content creators and journalists and internet writers. Be very wary of them. They are not educated on football. They're sensationalists. They're doing it because they want to, get, controversy on them because it'll help them grow. And that sounds really hypocritical from me, because people will say, well, that's what you do, but I don't. And anybody who's been watching this channel for years will know I don't. I've never done that. Not when we've been big. I've never done it, because Mourinho, I stayed way longer than all of you lot. Ollie, I stayed way longer than all of you lot. And Ten Hag, I'm absolutely, totally behind. So I don't do that. I could do that. If I changed the title of this video and said Ten Hag out, probably get more views than we've ever had. I know that's the pathway to it. That's why I'm telling you it's the pathway to it. And that's why I'm telling you everybody who does it for a reason. They walk out of Old Trafford, they get a camera, or they're sat at home and they go live and they go, Ten Hag out. And they're doing it because they want to grow themselves. That's what they want to do. That's what they want to do. I don't want to do that, because we've grown organically over 8 years. We've never had a viral video. We've never done it that way. We've grown this community together. I started with Kev and Martin and Alex and Rich on a Sunday night at 8 o'clock once a week with 10 people watching, and it grew from 10 to 20 to 30 to 100. We've grown this over 8 years. It's taken 8 years. And it's never been about doing something because it's going to be controversial. And the Ten Hag out thing is wrong. It's wrong. And it's wrong on many levels. We don't need to go back to Sir Alex. Look at what happened with Arsenal and Arteta. It's very similar, actually. Somebody trying to fix years and years of damage, doing it in a way where he has to play Look, Arteta at the start played shit football. It was counter-attacking. Speak to any Arsenal fan. It was rubbish football. But it was about building something, and it took him time. And they don't play shit football now. And they're a title contender now. And they could have sacked Arteta. That club could have sacked Arteta. And they stuck by him. Arsenal fans were printing T-shirts. Arteta out. There were certain Arsenal creators going, get this bum out my club. They're not saying that now. They're the ones who look idiots, who pretend they didn't do it. And we know they did it. So just be very, very careful. And remember that if you are one of those people putting pressure on the manager, you're making the job harder as well. But look, if you want to do that, that's fine. But my point is, I was watching the Man City game back today, and I'm absolutely transfixed at the moment with the way that we play. And last season, I think our defence was elite. I know we got beat a few times, but I think our defence was elite last season. You don't get 17 clean sheets in the Premier League by chance. You get it by design. Now, I think De Gea played a part. A lot of people don't. So if it's not on De Gea, it's on the back four. That back four was Martinez, Varane, Dalot, Wan-Bissaka and Luke Shaw. You know what? You watch that back four last year. You watch what they do when David De Gea had the ball. I know why Ten Hag bought Onana, because I know what the defence did last year. Last year, the defence would split and move to try and receive a pass. So what Ten Hag did was go, I've got defenders who are intelligent enough to take the ball, so I'm going to get a goalkeeper that's intelligent enough to find them. Because sometimes, I'll put my hand up, last year, De Gea had the ball, people are making the move, he can't make the pass, so he hits it long. So Ten Hag, I think, got frustrated with that and was like, I've got defenders who wants the ball. So, and De Gea can't always play it. So I'm going to get a goalkeeper that can find them. By sheer bad luck, really, injuries, he's brought that goalkeeper in and now he hasn't got the defenders to receive the ball. I was watching the Man City game at the weekend. Onana actually had the ball quite a lot. He had the ball quite a lot. And the interesting thing is, City pressed him. And he was under more pressure than he was for Inter because he didn't have people to play to. I was looking at Maguire and Evans, and the amount of times when Onana had the ball, Maguire or Evans would be literally stood next to Haaland or Grealish, and they didn't break for space. And you'd see Maguire or Evans going to Onana, telling him to boot it long. And you go, well, I'll go back to what I said last night. Man City are playing from the back. Brighton are playing from the back. Liverpool are playing from the back. Man United are kicking it long. We're kicking it long and we're giving up possession because we can't play out from the back. I tell you now, go and watch Man City at the weekend for 45 minutes and see what the goalkeeper had as an option to play out from the back. Very, very rare he had an angle. Very, very rare. Let's talk about Onana though. Apparently he's going to go and play in the AFCON. What are your thoughts on this? We've got a poll going. Should Onana go to the AFCON? Yes, 56%. No, 44%. So again, very, very close. Glenny Boy says it wasn't just Roy Keane that was prone to a lash out as captain. Mr. Kung Fu Kick himself, Eric the King captain, was captain of United in 96-97. Well, this is what I find weird, Glenny Boy. You've got all these United ex-players and fans saying Anthony was an embarrassment for kicking Doku the other day. And I'm like, am I living in an alternative reality here? So we're now criticising United players for kicking a Man City player out of frustration. That's embarrassing now. And I found nothing about that embarrassing. Look, I know it's a foul and I know he could have got sent off, but I found nothing about that embarrassing. I actually was like, well, at least he gives a shit. At least he's getting angry. You know, I haven't seen a United player do that in about 5 years. But Cantona bloody kicked someone in the crowd. Roy Keane was at it all the time. Paul Scholes against Chelsea got sent off for booting a player on the floor. I loved it. Loved it because it was passion. It was passion. What about Ole Gunnar Solskjaer when, was it Rob Lee was running through one-on-one and he couldn't, there was no way he could tackle, so he just absolutely booted his legs and took him out. Was that embarrassing, Gary? David Beckham ran the length of the pitch to kiss Solskjaer and he was given a cheer by the whole of Old Trafford. It's really, this is what I mean. People forget reality to place their agenda. And that's what we saw at the weekend. Anthony and Bruno are embarrassing for trying to kick a Man City player. And it's ex-Man United legends saying that who would have kicked players at their time. I don't get it. I don't get it. Is it because of their... I remember Neville booted Reyes, says Stephen. Look, rest in peace, Reyes. It was obviously horrible what happened to him, but he used to play for Arsenal, and we used to boot Arsenal off the pitch. Arsenal were basically Man City, and we were Liverpool with a bite. So Man City on their day are a better team than Liverpool, aren't they? But Liverpool with Klopp are a little bit more rock and roll. So Arsenal were Man City, and we were a bit like Liverpool in the current thing. And we couldn't go toe-to-toe with Wenger's Arsenal because they were better than us. And Sir Alex knew that. So not massively better, but better, just slightly better. So we'd kick them. We'd absolutely kick them. And to say, I don't know what that's all about. Look, we're talking about other stuff here, but I don't know what that's all about. Why are Bruno and Anthony being labelled as embarrassing for kicking Man City players in a derby? I mean, I actually have got no problem with it. Man United kicks Man City player in a derby out of frustration. Oh, it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing. Well, you know what? I've been watching United for nearly 40 years, and I don't think it's embarrassing at all. Some of my favourite players used to kick players. Well, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous to call them out for that. I don't get it. I really don't. I personally think it just comes down to the same old Brexit bullshit, isn't it? You know, but I don't know. I don't really understand it, to be honest. Anyway, back to Onana. What do I think about Onana going to the AFCON? I think it's bad recruitment, you know. I think it is bad recruitment. I don't think it's going to really make a massive amount of difference. But I would always say, what if the worst happens? So what if Onana goes off to the AFCON for a month, and in that month we lose 3 Premier League games, get knocked out the FA Cup, and get knocked out the Carabao Cup? He'll be back for the February Europa League or Champions League. We let David De Gea go for free, and we spent £50 million on his replacement. That was a £50 million risk. Onana hasn't settled in because he's got to get used to Man United, and it's going to take time. And then in his first year, he's off to the AFCON. I would just say, recruitment-wise, this is why you need a director of football. Because if I was the sporting director and Erik Ten Hag said to me, this is a prime example of why we need a good sporting director at United, okay? Because we were talking about this last night, and it was a bit controversial because Samuel Lucas said that basically the club have made mistakes buying players for the manager. They should be buying players for the club, which I completely disagree with. You have to buy players for the manager's style of play, but what you need is a sporting director. And this is a prime example, absolutely perfect timing, right? Why we need a good sporting director. Because Erik Ten Hag says to me as sporting director, I don't want to renew David De Gea's contract. And I go, we've been working on, this is all fact, right? Eric comes to me and says, literally, the season's finished. David De Gea's on holiday. The contract offer's there, because this is what happened. And Erik Ten Hag rings me up and says, I know he's on holiday. I know we've offered him the contract, and I know he thinks he's coming back. But I've changed my mind. I want to buy a goalkeeper this summer. I don't want De Gea back. So as sporting director, I would say, it's a bit low, Eric. It's a bit low, really. You know, he's been at the club for 10 years. He's just won the Golden Glove. He's well respected in the dressing room. He's a leader in the dressing room. The fans really like him. We've told him we're going to sign him on a new contract. He's on holiday and we're just not going to do it. I think it's really important that we get a ball-playing goalkeeper in for this, this and this. And I go, okay, right, you're the manager. We're not going to do what happened with Jose, where we said no, Pogba's not going, or Martial. You're telling me you want De Gea to go. You've told me why. I think it's harsh on De Gea, but you've just told me why you want to do it. So, okay, we're going to do it, right? We're going to do it. We're going to back the manager. I know why you want to do it from footballing reasons. I see what you mean. Let's do it. Okay. We're never going to, if we give him a new contract, we're not going to be able to do it. So let's do it. Let's let him go. Who do you want as a replacement? I want Onana. Okay. I can see that. Good ball playing goalkeeper. He's going to cost 50 million. It's a lot of money, but that's what you, yeah, okay, I get it. It's going to cost a lot of money, but for what you want, you're saying it's a really important position. Right, Onana. Right, leave it with me. Go and have a look at Onana. Right, Onana. Do you want to come to Man United? Yes. Okay, everything's looking good at the moment. Right. You don't play for your national team anymore? No. Are you ever going to play for them again? No. Okay. This is looking even better now. Different answer. Are you ever going to play for your country again? Well, I'm thinking about going back in January. Okay. Or, are you ever going to play for your country again? Well, probably not, but if the offer comes in, I would. Okay. Right. I go back to Erik Ten Hag and I say, right, Eric, good goalkeeper, but issue, 50 million quid's a lot of money, and he could go and play in the AFCON this year. That's a month of him gone. I'm the sporting director. What's your alternative? Well, I want him. I've got concerns about this, Eric, because I've seen goalkeepers come into Manchester United and they don't start working straight away. They've got to get their head down. They've got to focus on Man United. They've got to concentrate on Man United. I've seen it after Schmeichel. We saw it with De Gea in his first year. He needs to be totally committed to Man United in that first year. And he might go off in January. So what's your option two? I don't want an option two. Eric, I'm the sporting director. Let's be grown up. You've given your number one choice. I'm telling you, I've got a few concerns about it. Who's option two? Well, I do really like Douglas Costa. Right, okay, let's have a look at the price of that. And that's what a sporting director does. Doesn't mean I wouldn't have bought Onana, but what we've done is just gone and buy Onana because we've not done our homework again. Same as Jadon Sancho. And I think this is why we need a sporting director, because those are the sort of conversations that happen with Pep. Those are the sort of questions that Edu and Arteta do. But at United, as we know, we just don't have that. Fans moaning probably not old enough to remember the aggression of Sir Alex Ferguson's United, says Ray. All transformations take time and perseverance. Back Erik Ten Hag and there's a chance of success. Otherwise, failure is guaranteed, says Rashid. And also, Ajax are bottom of the Eredivisie right now. Since they got rid of Overmars and Van der Sar, they've been falling. Structure is everything, says Timon. Look, I can't make any promises on what's going to happen with United tomorrow or on Saturday or against Copenhagen. I just don't know. But I just know that it would be a massive mistake. It would be a massive mistake to sack Erik Ten Hag when basically the whole of our back four is out. The starting back four against Man City, none of them are first choice. The low, it's Wan-Bissaka. Maguire, it's Varane. Evans, it's Martinez. And Reguilon, it's Shaw. And also, Casemiro's our best CDM. So our whole structure at the back is not there because of injury. So to sack a manager when he's got his whole back five on will 100% come back and bite us on the arse when we bring someone else in and it fails. I said this a few weeks ago. I still feel guilty about Mourinho. And at the time, I was convinced he needed to be sacked. And I still think he should have been sacked, but I still feel guilty about it because of what happened afterwards. When I wanted Mourinho to get sacked, I was like, it'll be better without him. But it's not got better without him, has it? I still find myself going, we probably would have been better off getting rid of Pogba and Martial and sticking with... Well, that's the scenario. If the club had listened to Mourinho and got rid of Pogba and Martial, would we be in a better position now than we were getting rid of him? Well, 3 years of Ollie show you that we would have been. So I just don't want to be in a position again where I regret getting rid of a manager. And I do regret getting rid of Jose. I do. And I'm not to say I'm right, but I do regret it. And you know, I was very late with Jose. I mean, the game that I was Jose out was West Ham away, which probably was October, and he was gone by the start of December. But some of you were Jose out the previous season, which is fine. You know, he did get the sack. You were right. But I just don't want to be in that situation again. I don't want to be in a situation... I regret Rangnick as well. You know, I stuck with Rangnick. The media were ridiculing him. They still do. They still do write articles about Rangnick as if he was a clown. I regret Rangnick going as well. And I don't want it to happen again. I'm not saying that I won't be Ten Hag out at some point. I will always say nobody is above the sack. If he loses his next 4 games against Luton, Copenhagen, Newcastle and Fulham, I'd be saying, you know, that's not acceptable. But also, on the other hand, I'd be looking at why we lost, because I think I could manage Man United to wins against those teams. So I'd be saying the players are doing it on purpose. I'll find it very hard to... I found it very hard when Rangnick... I remember saying to you when at the end of the Rangnick season, you know, it's funny what drops into your head, isn't it? I remember, and some of you might remember as well, I remember at the end of the season with Rangnick, and I said, I want Ten Hag to come in, but I'll never trust a lot of these players again. I'll never trust them because of how abysmal they'd been that season under Solskjaer and Rangnick. And I said, I'm 100% sure that some of these players have sabotaged our season. They've downed tools for their own gain. Some of those players are still starting games for Manchester United, and they've been given a second chance under Ten Hag and by the fans. And if Ten Hag gets sacked because of them again, I won't give them another chance. I won't, because that'll be the second time now, and they've got to start delivering. They've got to start delivering. Can I be a know-it-all, Mark, and say I voiced my concern about Onana and AFCON in pre-season before we signed him, but the chat and presenter thought I was trolling? Says, well, it wasn't me, I hope, Glenny boy. I hope it wasn't me who said you were trolling. Could have been. Would you, over Christmas, bring in Bayinda to get game time with Onana going to the tournament in January? Well, I think Ray, you make a great point. If Onana is going to the AFCON, then and I'm sure some of you've seen the preview from this afternoon. If Onana was going to the AFCON, then Bayinda should start tomorrow night. 100%. He's not. I don't think he's played a game for us yet. So, if we now know that Onana's going to the AFCON, I mean, this is what I mean about. Look, I'm just going to be really blunt here. Priorities. I think if England played in a tournament in January, Rashford, Maguire and Shaw would go and play for England. Because I think they prefer playing for England than they do Man United. I might be completely wrong, but the impression I get from their smile on their faces when they're at England is they enjoy playing for England. That would never happen under Sir Alex, by the way. But Man United should come first. I don't give a shit about national football. I don't give a shit about England. And I'm English. I like the World Cup and the Euros because it stops me from being bored in June and July. When proper football's on, I couldn't give two shits about national team football. So for me, Onana shouldn't be going anyway. You know, you're a brand new signing. People are standing by you when you're making bad mistakes. Show a bit of bloody loyalty to the people who pay you the most. You know, club football. I don't want him to go. I don't like international football, so I don't want him to go. Some of you do like international football, that's fine. It's a different opinion. But if he's going to go and play for his country in January, then if I'm the manager, well, Beyinder's playing tomorrow night. And he's probably going to play against Luton as well. And I'll probably play him from Christmas as well. And Onana will go, why? And I'll go, because you're going to play for your country in January, and I've got to give this lad game time, because if I throw him in with no game time and we start losing because I'm using you, then I'm an idiot. And I tell you another thing, if he plays well in January, you're not going straight back in the team either. And that's not me being a bitch. That's me being fair. You're going off to play for your country. That's fine. You can do that. It's in your contract. But this lad's not. And if he plays well, he's keeping your shirt. What's wrong with that? Good point about Arteta, but we don't have the owners and recruitment, etc. Arteta also bought a right winger for 80 million and had to sell him, says Yelp. Yeah. Did Arteta buy Pepe? Exactly. Sacking Ralph was a disgrace, and that's on Richard Arnold and the Glazers. He had more football knowledge in his pinky than any of the journalists, says Jack. Mate, you know what? The Ranić thing, I will never shut up about. You can catch me in the pub. If you see me in a pub and you buy me a pint and you say, let's talk about Ranić, you'll get at least 5 pints in return, because I won't shut up for the whole night. I can talk and talk and talk about Ranić, specifically around Manchester United. Ralph Ranić was a hipster man for years, and I sort of became aware of it probably about 18 months before he came to us. And as soon as I started reading about it and looking about it, and I knew who he was, but not in depth. And as soon as I started looking at it, I was like, oh, I'd love him at United. You know, what he knows about football and the impact he's had on certain German coaches, including Klopp. What a man. And how methodical he is, and how good he is at building football clubs, and how good he is with his style of football and recruitment. Oh, I'd love him at Man United. And when we got him at Man United, I was just so excited. I wasn't really interested in him coaching the team. I never liked that, to be honest. I was like, you know, he's never managed in the Premier League. He's not done a lot of managing in the last decade. He is the director of football. But the United sold it as a guy that was going to come in, be interim, and then go upstairs. And I was like, actually, this is really intelligent, because he goes down in the basement. He looks at the playing and the coaching, because it's not just about the players. He's looking at the players to find out who's good and who needs to go. But he's also looking at the coaching to find out who needs to go and the fitness. And then he moves up the club and starts making the decisions. And I was like, this is amazing. This is absolutely brilliant. For the first time in ages, we're doing something really intelligent. And all that actually happened is he came in, he was treated like a coach, the results were bad, and they fucked him off. And I was like, we've literally not used him for what he was there to do. I mean, it's like getting the world's best chef, bringing him in to wash the pots, and then when he's not that great at washing the pots, going, you're not very good, piss off. He's a chef. Get him in the fucking kitchen. And it just baffles me. Not playing him purely because he wants to play for his country just seems like sour grapes, says Tom. No, well, you're not listening, Tom. Why do people... There you go, out of context, misinterpretation, misquoted. At what point did I say, don't play Onana because of sour grapes? I said, if he's going away in January to play for his country, he's prioritising his country over Man United. Fine, he can do that. But I'm going to prioritise Man United over him. I'm going to get Beyinder in to get used to being a Man United goalkeeper when Onana's not there. And then if he plays well, Onana's not having his shirt back. That's not sour grapes. That's just reality. Can I be a know-it-all, Mark, and say I've done that from Glenny Boy? Why don't you like international football? I like it because it's a void to play to win. Also, I get patriotic. I hate it, Ben. I hate it. I like the World Cup and I like the Euros, but I hate the 3 international breaks that we get between September and November. I hate them. They're a big waste of time. And also, England are managed by Southgate. So, Marvin says that's just bad management. It's brilliant management. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? So, if you're manager of Man United and you know your goalkeeper's going in January, you're not going to give your backup goalkeeper game time before. You're just going to throw him in January when it's the FA Cup, when it might be the semi-final of the Carabao Cup, when there might be big Premier League games. You're literally going to go, Onana, you're my number one, all the way up until New Year's Eve, and then I'm throwing Binder in for a month, and then when you come back, you're my number one. And that's bad management. I think that's bloody stupid management. I think clever management is to give Binder some games before, so he gets used to it, starting tomorrow. And then if he plays really, really, really well, you don't drop a player who's doing really well. That's what I'm saying. You always say that he needs more players and time to play like Pep. Nothing Ten Hag has said or done indicates that he wants to play like Pep, says Robin. Have you never watched him at Ajax? Next question. But yeah, going back to the Rangnick thing. You see, you've started me off now. Going back to the Rangnick thing, yeah, it was incredible. And what used to wind me up the most about it was that from day one, there were certain media outlets and journalists who ridiculed the appointment, and they didn't like Rangnick. And they used to ridicule the whole, it's just hipster, the Rangnick way. They never liked it. A little bit like some of them didn't like Ten Hag. They were like Eredivisie, so always signing Eredivisie players. And, it's just, again, it's Brexit, isn't it? They don't like anything that they don't know about. And the sort of people who go on holiday and go in the English bar and have, a full English breakfast 3 times a day and a pint of Carling, even though you're in bloody Greece, then they can't open their mind up to different cultures or the fact that, different countries might play football better than us and have ideas better than us. No, he's not managed in the Premier League. Could be that the reason they sabotaged Rangnick, knowing that he saw how they act and knowing he would kick them out once he became sporting director, says Adti. Look, you know what? I don't think it would ever happen, but I would absolutely love it. Whether it's a Jim or Qatar or whoever, I would have absolutely loved it if they'd come in and said, "Look, we want Rangnick." I'd love it. I don't think he'd come back and do it. I don't know whether Ten Hag would want it, but I would love. It was an opportunity we missed. It was an opportunity we missed. I mean, there was a picture, wasn't there? There was a picture of Rangnick and Mitchell sat together around. I think Rangnick was the manager at the time, and it was around March time, and there was a picture of Rangnick and Mitchell sat watching a youth game or something like that, and the hipsters went mad, going, "Oh, this is the dream." And there's plenty of players over the years that we've said we should have bought. And there's plenty of, sporting directors we've said we'd like to have. The fact that we actually had Ralph Rangnick at the club and messed it up is just, it's ridiculous, really. It should be, you cannot vote for the president, Mark. That is completely different, says Michael Talbot. Don't know what you're talking about. And he said we're never going to play like Ajax because he came to United and had players like Bruno and Rashford hand-built the team around them, says Robin. Yeah, I don't know the inner workings of Ten Hag's mind, and I don't know the inner workings of his contract, and I don't know the inner workings of what he's been told he's got to do. I suspect, and this is only opinion, I suspect when he came to Manchester United and had the interview, they basically said to him that, we can't buy a whole team, so you're going to have to work with what you've got. And effectively, I think Ten Hag probably said, I think I can make a team work with Rashford and Bruno and, whatever else we had at the time. And maybe that was a mistake. But I would pretty much guarantee from the people I know that if Ten Hag had been interviewed and said, I need to get rid of most of this team and rebuild it all, they wouldn't have given him the job. And I pretty much guarantee that Pochettino in the other interview was saying, I can get the best out of Rashford and everyone else. So I think Ten Hag had to say that if he wanted the job. maybe that was a mistake, but he wouldn't have got the job if he didn't. I've seen it before in non-football settings. Rangnick diagnosis hit the nail on the head, but made a lot of incompetent people with power look bad and fear for their jobs. And so he was ridiculed and dismissed. Classic corporate politics, says Rashid. It is. And with the current injury crisis, especially on defence, would it be an idea to recall the likes of Brandon Williams, says Tom? I don't think Brandon Williams is right for Manchester United. I just don't think he's right. And I would leave it at that. It's great what he's doing at Ipswich, and he's doing a good job at Ipswich. I don't think he's a Man United player. Look, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I just don't think he is. I don't think he is. In January, we've got Spurs at home and Wolves away, and we may have European or Cup football as well. Starting a new goalkeeper without preparation is suicide, says Jack. Exactly. There'll be big games in January. You can't just leave it. 56% of you said yes, Onana should go to the AFCON. 44% of you said no. Loving this. Different opinions makes better community. Yes, 100%. Fantastic. Well done. I'll tell you who I would like, who's on loan at the moment. And I always liked him. And I don't want to remind people because people might not have been watching that particular minute or even that particular video. But I know I said it. I was asked in the summer what youth player I thought would break out this year, because there's always a breakout player. And it will be Mainu, and I think everyone said Mainu. But I did say another name that I felt, as a bit of an outsider, could really just break through into the first team and be massive for us. And he could have done, but he's doing it on loan instead. And that's Álvaro Fernandes. He's doing really well in Spain. And I think he's got the lot. You know, for a fullback, he's actually quite tall. He needs to fill out a little bit, but he's got a great engine. I think he's a really interesting player. In fact, he's the player on loan at the moment that I'm like looking at going, I'm surprised Ten Hag got rid of him. And I'm not saying he's better than Reguilon, but I did see somebody today trying to ridicule Ten Hag, saying, you know, we bring Reguilon in on loan and pay money when we've got Álvaro Fernandes. But no, sometimes it's right to loan a player. It was right to loan David Beckham all those years ago to Preston. You know, some players like Giggs, straight in the first team. Some players do need a loan. And I think Fernandes on loan will be getting more than Ten Hag would have expected. I don't think Ten Hag expected to have Malacia and Luke Shaw out injured at the same time. Otherwise, he might have made a different decision about Fernandes. But I think the reason Ten Hag let Fernandes go on loan is because he has seen a player that could be a really important player for us, and he wanted him to go and get first team football somewhere. And he is. And he's doing a fantastic job in Spain. They say what goes around comes around, Mark. Arnold and Murta stabbed Ralph in the back. Maybe they will get theirs when Sir Jim comes in. Glennie, you're absolutely right. What goes around does come around. And, well, not all the time, but it does a lot of the time. And there's absolutely no doubt in my mind that people such as Arnold and Murta got rid of Rangnick because it was too many home truths, definitely. Don't forget, we've been sponsored on the show by Boohoo Man tonight. 40% off with the code GOLDBRIDGE. It is Boohoo Man Show because it's Halloween. And I have to remind you, Goldbridge Saves Football podcast. You can win a ticket to the Christmas show just by listening to that podcast and doing what it says. I'm telling you now, because I'm pointing it out to United Stand viewers, because it's the United Stand Christmas show on December the 11th, and you could get yourself a free ticket without having to buy one. So get yourself on that podcast, listen to it. I'm telling you now, there's only about 4 people so far that we're considering could be a winner, and we're not picking the winners till Friday. So that just shows you how, if you're switched on, you could win a ticket to that. Just listen to the podcast and do what it says. Links in the live chat. Or go through the video description, or just type in Goldbridge Saves Football. Do it. Can't wait to see you there. And also, don't forget about that'sfootballmedia@gmail.com. If you're interested in being a presenter for the United Stand and you think you've got the skills, don't send it in if you're shit. You're wasting your time and mine, let's be honest. But if you think you have, then send us a 60-second clip on your video talking about anything that, you know, it might be about Onana, it might be about the captaincy. That's footballmedia@gmail.com. But remember, if you do a good one, there's no point sending it in if you can't be in Manchester on December the 11th for the live auditions, which you will be part of a United Stand video for as well. And it doesn't matter whether you're a professional. You know, we've already had a 60-second clip in from Laura Woods, who's looking to get out of TNT and work for United Stand. Unfortunately, she did get cut, but you know, everybody's having a go. So we might even get one from Gary. Hi Mark, given what we know about recently released financial information, seems like signings are extremely unlikely. I think we need to accept that our structure and finances are now mid-table and sign with that assumption, says Diego. I'll tell you something actually. I think we wanted Reguilon because we got a break clause for him in January, and the loan for Fernandes has a January break clause, says James Guy. Yeah, interesting. I told you this before. And it's absolutely true. Even if you do want Ten Hag out, you're wasting your breath. There is absolutely no appetite from Manchester United to sack Ten Hag on 2 grounds. 1, footballing grounds. 2, and most importantly when it comes to this football club, unfortunately, financial grounds. They cannot afford to sack him. They couldn't afford to sack. They couldn't afford another 5 million to sign Amrabat. They can't afford 10 to sack Ten Hag. They cannot afford to sack him anyway. So yeah, that's where we are. Somebody just said that there's a tweet come out. Let me just check. We don't normally get this. This is normally, you know, little trolls in the summer. So I'll have a little check. Let's have a look. Here we go. Manchester United players struggling with kit issues. Home socks too tight and haven't been used since game 2. Onana's keeper jersey's too small, so he's been wearing a replica. Adidas are working on it. Oh my god! It's Halloween, not Boxing Day, not bloody April Fools. How can Man United have kits that are too tight? Oh my god! I need to go. I wasn't going to have a drink tonight, but this has to be wrong on so many levels. We're Manchester United and Adidas sponsor us. Why would they have kits that are too tight? It makes no bloody sense. Absolutely none. I'm sorry I even read that. Take care, everyone. It's been a fantastic show again. I really, really enjoyed it. Have a happy Halloween, whatever you're doing. I think I'm just going to go and watch some classic Simpsons, actually. The only time I watch them is on Halloween. And there's some classic ones there. I like the... I think my favourite one is where Marge is a witch. And I'm getting into it too much. Thanks everyone for watching. I'll speak to you tomorrow for the morning show. Match day tomorrow as well. Don't forget to check the podcast out. Can't wait for the Manchester show. Everyone's going to be involved in that. Beth, Ricky, Kev, Jordan's going to be there. Got some special guests going to come along as well. Trying to get Angry Ginger along as well. I think he'll come. Speak to you in a bit. Thanks for watching.